Hey, today we're going to finish listening to Revolver, starting with song 1 on side 2, which is Good Day Sunshine, and our lead vocal is Paul.
Good day, sunshine. I need to laugh, and when the sun is out, I'm in love and it's a sunny day. Good day, sunshine. Finds my feet as they touch the ground. Good day, sunshine. Good day. I love her and she's loving me. She feels good. Good day, sunshine.
It's not difficult to enjoy the song. It's simple, easy, it's fun, it's a good time, it's Good Day Sunshine. You can feel the good day vibration throughout the song. You can feel the power of the sunshine. The piano was actually really fun to listen to in this one. It gave me a bit of a ragtime nostalgia. The choice to give Good Day Sunshine this intro is really funny to me in that the intro itself is not funny at all. It's actually kind of menacing or trying to prepare us for something grand that's about to happen. And then when the drums roll in, we realize,
oh, this song is more of like a goofy, jolly, good time.
Good day, sunshine. I need to laugh, and when the sun is out.
the piano does have a really fun and catchy tune. The line is amazing.
I'm in love and it's a sunny day. Good day, sunshine.
We have very vibrant ringing in the percussion during the choruses.
My feet as they touch the ground.
That's probably my favorite vocal moment. In general, the vocal execution in the song is excellent because we have this very fun, playful, light-hearted sound. It's very subtle, but still a very beautiful tone is brought forward. It's very
Piercing and shining.
Good day, sunshine. Then we lie beneath the shady tree. I'm so proud to know that she is mine.
We have that fun mirroring effect at the end. With Good Day Sunshine, the Beatles gave us a song that wasn't very challenging, it wasn't hard to like, but the most intricate part of the song was the rhythm. You know, we had some fun syncopation in there, and at times we fell off that steady 4/4, we fell more into perhaps a 3/4, and you know, we just were challenged a bit rhythm-wise, but
otherwise,
it was really easy and enjoyable. Now we're off to song number 2, which is And Your Bird Can Sing. Our vocal is John, and I've been seeing a lot of enthusiasm and murmurs about this song, so this should be a good time.
And your bird can sing, but you don't get me. You say you've seen 7 wonders. You can't see me. Stop to weigh you down. I'll be round when your bird is broken. Every sound there is, and your bird can swing me.
Alright, so back when I reacted to side 1 of Revolver, which you should totally go check out by the way if you haven't, I mentioned that I have a top 5 for this album, right? And 4 of those 5 were already played out in side 1. But taking it a little bit further back, when I reacted to Rubber Soul, I mentioned that I sort of sometimes kind of might play dirty when choosing favorites. Meaning, my top 3 back in Rubber Soul included 4 songs. Now 5 songs. And my top 5 for Revolver might not be only 5 songs. So I think that I'm going to include And Your Bird Can Sing. I promise I'll tighten up the axe when I pick my top 10 favorites for
all-time Beatles favorite song.
that list will only have 10. But my top 5 for Revolver might not have only 5. We'll just call it a top 5 as a sort of
Empty gesture.
I just love that distorted, grungy nature in the guitars. It just feels so blown out and rock and roll. Like, I feel like we really get a good essence of gritty, dirty, muffled, muddy, cloudy rock. The way that that vocal completely contrasted everything I just said about the guitar is the vocal is clean, it's crisp, it's a needle through air. This genuinely feels like two perfect worlds colliding in a very beautiful and harmonious way. We have this very regal and elegant delivery, and then a world of rock, and they just fuse so well and so beautifully together. They complement each other perfectly. And then we have those harmonies that are introduced right away, right up front. And the bass that's going on is exceptional. So much power and so much. It's impossible not to get all stirred up and hyped up by the movement of the line in the guitars. It's just so energizing. I love the upward motion, the forward motion. It just keeps getting grander and grander and grander. Then when we reach those peaks, it's so beyond gratifying and satisfying. These two songs right off the bat express how the Beatles are able to take any major key and have it sound however they want. Because we have two songs back to back, major key, and they sound completely different from completely different universes. And in this song, back to the guitar line, it almost reminds me of etudes or piano exercises. Even though it's a guitar, the movement kind of reminds me of those because they're very beautiful and they're really fun. That little moment at the end was a sprinkle of delight. So much goodness. Musical dessert, really. Off to number 3 on side 2, we have For No One. Our vocal is Paul, and this song was originally on the top 5 for this album, and it stays in the top 5.
Your day breaks, your mind aches. You find that when she no longer needs you, and in her eyes you see nothing. A love that should have lasted years. Don't believe her when she says her love is dead. And in her eyes you see nothing. Cried for no one. A love that should have lasted. There will be times when all the things she said will fill your head.
Back the first time I ever heard For No One, I had a big banner flash across my mind of,
Oh, Piano Man.
there were certain elements that really reminded me of it. Maybe it was the structure of the falling chords and the changes of the notes, but For No One is this delicately beautiful masterpiece that exists here on earth, and it just transports us to another place. It reaches deep in the soul. It takes me on this journey, especially when that French horn kicks in.
Your day breaks, your mind aches. You find that all she wakes up, she makes up, she takes her time. No longer needs you, and in her eyes you see nothing.
That transition right there is so effortless and seamless and critical to this song, because we go from this very strict and straight narrowed bum 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 straight ahead forward into this more free natured spirited side of the song, and the vocal just remains the same throughout, so it carries over this energy that stays consistent, although everything around seems to change and be chaotic.
Love beyond the tears, cried for no one. You need her, and yet you don't believe her.
That French horn kicks in, it feels like this ethereal entity has just broken into the human realm.
Your day breaks, your mind aches.
In between the piano and the clavichord, we are left with no room to breathe because they have both efficiently taken all our breaths away, have stopped our heart, have blown our mind. They've just completely left us a shell of the human that we were before.
Forget everything else I am. I am listening to For No One. That's what I am.
The número cuatro of this side is definitely an exciting one, not one to disappoint, and totally belongs on the extended top 5 for Revolver. It's Dr. Robert. Our vocal is John Lennon, so ¿a dónde está George Harrison? No sé. Tal vez ya no es el rey del número 4.
Hey, my friend, I said you call Dr. Robert, Dr. Robert. You're a new and better, you're down here, pick you up, Dr. Robert. Take a drink from his special cup, Dr. Robert. He's a man you must believe. Well, you're feeling fine, Dr. Robert. Pay money just to see yourself with Dr. Robert. He helps you to understand. He'll make you Dr. Robert.
Does anyone know how many times they actually sing Dr. Robert? How many times that's repeated? Because you would think it would get monotonous, but no, the song is full of character. It's full of life. I love it. And I love pairing songs together. So for this album, for Revolver, I really like listening to Taxman and Dr. Robert together, but I feel like Dr. Robert exists somewhere between Taxman and then switching gears completely all the way to Penny Lane. Just so good, so good. I love the harsh contrast between our A sections and our B sections. I totally feel like we exist in a different reality in the B sections, which I think is kind of what they were going for, right? They're pulling us back into that rock and roll feel with that guitar, very juicy and bouncy.
I'm right here, there anytime at all, Dr. Robert. If you're down here, pick you up, Dr. Robert.
And giving us another verse and repeating this A section again, but adding in that harmony gives us that little bit of flavor, that spice that changes things up just enough, magnetizing and sinking us into this world, but now it's grander and there's a harmony and there's more people and there's more things going on and it's getting more and more exciting and it's on its way to becoming euphoric.
He's a man you must believe.
And we've reached ecstasy. That's very much due to the change of rhythm completely. We're just dropped off. We are suspended, like drifting in outer space is what it's almost like. In the A section, we're reeled down to earth. We're almost hyper focused. It's almost like New York. You know, it's business life. It's we're on the street, you know, there's traffic.
It's fast paced. There's no time to take any breaths. Got people to see, places to be, everything is go, 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 go.
But then with that, I think it's due to that organ, you know, and that change of tempo where we're just whoosh, we're lost, we're floating. But then we wake up and it's back to reality. It's almost as if the gates of heaven have opened. That's what it feels like. It feels like this beautiful moment, this larger than life event is happening to you and everything's pearly and iridescent and just rainbow. The maracas on this side are really nice, very enjoyable. Número 5, we have I Want to Tell You, and we were just calling out for George Harrison, and guess what? George Harrison has answered the call.
I want to tell you when you're here, the games begin to drag me down.
many elements and characteristics to fall in love with this song. I think it's safe to say we have our 100th song that belongs on the top 5 for Revolver.
Yay, 100, we did it!
What a top 5 we have going. I love that within all of these different characteristics and elements, we are able to fully indulge these moments. Like we have such moments of dissonance, we have moments of clashing, we have colorful chords, we have sevenths, we have minor chords, we have sixth chords. It's just, we have everything happening, and it's happening so well. We have hand claps going on, and then we have that vocal moment at the end, which before playing it back from the beginning, I want to focus in on that ending for a second. I love it. I love all those runs. It feels like we're pulling from that Eastern sound that we've already experienced earlier on in the album. Magical. I love that vocal delivery on Tell. I want to tell you. We have a healthy, hearty harmony. And you can really hear the impact of having that double layering on the vocal, on the lead vocal. We have that repetitive emphasis on that very dissonant moment there that almost drives one mad. There we have a few shifts. We break out into this minor moment, and then we're led further down into this underworld of a sixth, and then we have a very pleasant resolution with a major. Following up, we have the literal perfect follow-up, at least in my opinion. Gotta Get You Into My Life. Our vocal is Paul, and yeah, I think these two pair so perfectly together, so I'm so happy they're back to back.
I didn't know what I would find there. And I suddenly see you every single day of my life. I didn't run, you didn't lie, you knew I wanted just to hold you. You were meant to be near me. Say we'll be together every day. I'm with you, I want to stay I didn't know what I would find there.
In case you forgot who we were listening to Sir Paul McCartney, the vocalist, the throat manipulator. Every different sound that happened that he created in this song, we have a full bag to select from. And we have that grand, big, bold sound that's provided by the brass and the trumpets. We're made aware right from the beginning that this is going to be a big moment. This almost feels like a grand finale, even though this is second to last. This feels like it could be dead last.
I was alone, I took a ride, I didn't know what I would find there.
The melody, that's quite a jump right there at the end. So we have that soaring high note where Paul is able to show off a little bit for us. But he's also able to show off a little bit in the lower notes because his voice sounds so sweet and almost Disney Prince-like. And that ooh has so much on it, has so much passion. It's almost like a plea. It's from the soul. Ooh. and that hum and roar of the drums that start to build but they don't quite get there kind of acts as a way to psych us out, like we're about to receive this grand moment and it just dies. So yes, they get their little check mark on this song for
Moment of psyching out the fan.
You knew I wanted just to hold you. You were meant to be near me. I had to get you into my life.
And there, we've reached it, we've achieved it, finally, the top of the mountain where McCartney gets to stand up, chest out, and boldly belt out, "Gotta get you into my life." And that was such a hardcore delivery, very hard rock.
I be when I'm with you, I want to stay.
And then he's able to switch it back up on us and reel it back into that sweet spot, but now it has a little bit more earthiness and a little more depth than right at the beginning where it's a little bit more flaky. Finally, we see yet another phase of McCartney's voice, and Paul gives this very soulful delivery. Tomorrow Never Knows. Our vocal is John, and this is our last song on this side and the final song on Revolver. What goes on? I definitely don't want to start trying to make sense of what Tomorrow Never Knows is about, but maybe it could kind of explain the title, because I definitely got a sense that feels like I just stepped into the future, even the future that we think of in today's world, because I know this was in the past, but this is not the future of today. This is still in the tomorrow that we haven't gotten to yet. It's like someone walked into a room that was tomorrow and just pressed every button and kept spinning around and pressing buttons. Felt like every instrument was played backwards. It felt very, very experimental, very, very enlightening, but it scared me in a way. Even though it wasn't necessarily creepy or eerie, it was still bright, it was still major, and it still was very sunshiny. But for me, it was perhaps a bit too bright. It wasn't golden bright like the sun, but it was more like a piercing silver blinding light. In this section, it feels like John's voice has some sort of filter on it, like the way that we can use like a sepia filter over our pictures. It feels like his voice has a filter. I've talked about how sometimes it feels like it's mixed into the track or it's pushed in the back, but this one's definitely, it sounds further than those times. Did they rewind his vocal? Like, I like it, but I don't know how I feel about the chills that it gives me. I start going down this spiral, and I guess it makes sense in relation to the rest of the album. Like, we start getting these really big existential questions that come to us that are brought up during different moments of this album, different songs, different characters that were being sung about or that they're playing for us. So it makes me feel like,
what is tomorrow? What is happening right now? What is right now?
But it's super fun. And in Tomorrow Never Knows, I am able to fully 100% appreciate the living daylights out of the drums, because I feel like it's the only thing that gives me a steady sense of normalcy. And I love that for Tomorrow Never Knows. Just the touch of normalcy is appreciated. Talking about appreciated, thank you for sitting here, having this time with me, listening to beautiful music together. This has been so fun. Next up, we're going to listen to Free as a Bird and Real Love. So I'm very excited to give those a first listen. Haven't heard them before. Those are my last two songs that I've never heard before of the Beatles. Then I'll be familiar with their entire catalog. So sort of the end of a chapter, but that's okay, because then we're going to come across the inevitable top 10. The mantra I keep repeating to myself about the top 10 that's made the process a little bit easier for me is that it just needs to be my all-time top 10 favorites right now. This is where I'm at right now. You know, even if that changes in a week, that's okay, because I'm talking about my experience right now. And it might not change, because I think I'm coming close to the end, and now for a few days, I've been reviewing the list and being like, yeah, that checks out, that checks out, that checks out. I know that I'm going to have to rethink things after listening to Free as a Bird and Real Love. So that makes me even more excited to do that video. So thank you so much for everything. Keep enjoying your January. We're still trying to make the best of this year while it's still fresh and new.